Well, good evening, everyone. It's Keith Jowers, founder of Dads for Life. And, well, I want to talk to you about something that we all go through sometimes in our life. And I tell you, with 2020 being the way it is, or maybe in 3 months, we'll know how it's going to end, right? I just want to talk to you tonight about this whole thing that's been going on. We have had different perspectives on it, and we have really sweated the big stuff, haven't we? There's a lot of people with the job situations, with the back to school situation, or actually they weren't in school for a while and parents had to learn how to be a teacher and a dean and a principal and a coach. They've had to learn it all. I've talked with some parents that said it's just been kind of get up in the morning and figure it out. And that's what we have to do sometimes, even with our perspective, but it's our perspective of how we look at things that turn out some of our results. It's a powerful thing about perspective is that, well, it has the ability to change how we see things, doesn't it? How have we been seeing things with COVID-19? It may have affected your personal family, and by doing so, and it hasn't affected your friend, well, you'll see things differently of how COVID-19 has affected you. So your perspective will be a little different. But if we see change as well, if we see how this whole thing is changing us as an individual and at your employer, at the job site, or when you walk into the doctor's office, we all have to have a mask on. I did it today. So things change a little bit, don't they? And how you look at things. Well, if we change well, then our perspective on how the world is might be a little bit better. Simply because one person that changes can help another person change just by how you're reacting to things. In life, well, many of us are disproportionately view our world, well, negative all the time. And we can look around the world. We can turn on the news and see, well, there's a lot of things going on that are negative, and I understand that. But if we view it larger than it is, like what it can be, Louis Armstrong wrote a song and sang it so beautifully, and I love the song, how wonderful the world is. But it's our perspective of it sometimes. I used to teach men who were going through finances and teach them how to get along and with other people now that they've been convicted or they've come out of a drug situation or whatever. And I used to draw on the whiteboard a big circle, and I would draw all the continents of the world, and I would get to the USA, and I would draw out the states the best I can. I'm not the best artist. And then I would get down to Florida, in the northern Florida area where we live, and I'd put a small dot right there. And I said, gentlemen, can you tell me what that dot represents? And they had different views of what that dot represented. What I was trying to get them to think about is each of them had a perspective of that dot, what it meant, but I was trying to get them to think about that dot being themselves. And when I brought the end of the story around, or end of the lesson around, what I was trying to teach them was this big world on that whiteboard didn't revolve around that little dot. But some people think that the world does revolve around them. I've talked with some of them. So, but why is our perspective sometimes a little off base from someone else's perspective, so to speak? Well, it's just the way we're made, right? But if we were all the same, we'd have a boring life, wouldn't we? We'd have a boring world, don't you think? If everyone was just like you, how would the world be? God made us that way. We're all different. Look at your fingerprints or your fingers. When they make fingerprints, you or me, anyone watching this, whether it's now or later, all over the world, each and every one of us have a different fingerprint. And why is that? It's because we're individuals. And individuals, depending on the way you were brought up, your education, depending on your view of things and your perspective of things, it can all get really, disagreeable with someone else, can it? Pretty quick, especially over elections. I've heard more people say they have lost what they thought were friends on social media because of this election. Don't let that happen, folks. Now, if you're on our social media sites and you start cussing and blasting things all the time, being negative and saying that one side is more better than the other and putting the other side down, well, we don't want to see that. That's our social media feed. So, because real friends, well, you have to think about that. You have really done something for somebody to unfriend you, right? But real friends are going to disagree with me and still be my friend. But when you're just always just blasting negative things sometimes, that big stuff can really grow and really upset a relationship, can it? I don't know. I don't know if you're seeing things this way tonight, but I just wanted to I have really felt compelled to bring this video to you guys tonight, this audio for the podcast version of it, but to just really talk about how we as individuals can change our perspective a little bit, because, well, the size of our perspective in life is basically the size of what our understanding of the world is, isn't it? When we take back control of our own perspective, we can take back the way we see things in the world. I know the world's messed up, okay? It's not really the world messed up, it's the people in the world, right? In those countries or whatever. And then I used to look at other countries doing some of the things that we've saw over the summer here in our country and say, man, how do they live with that? But now it's in our backyard. And a lot of that has to do with our perspective of things. No matter how you vote, just vote. But I want you to find strength, and I want you to move forward when the stakes are high. And they're very high right now in our country. But no matter how you think politically, don't let that affect you individually with your friends and your family. I've heard families being very disruptive over this election. And that's sad, folks, when that happens. So I'd like to ask you a question tonight. What about the big stuff? Well, the big stuff is basically what we've been talking about in the way of perspective. The big stuff is what we see as really big stuff. But if something's really laid on you and over the summer, I was sick for almost 7 weeks. It was going into the 7th week when it all cleared up. That was big stuff to me. We all have big stuff that happens. But as much as I was at the doctor, involved with the doctor, involved with taking medicine, my wife was involved with all of that, helping me each and every night. She was an angel, trust me. But sometimes my perspective of how much she was trying to do kind of got discombobulated a little bit. But I didn't let it ruin our relationship. There was one night, it was really bad, and I really didn't know about tomorrow. Well, none of us really do we? The Bible says that tomorrow will take care of itself. But I knew that I believed in God would take care of me, and He did. He brought me through everything. But being sick for 7 weeks is tough. I've got a friend right now, 2 friends actually, and they're with their mother in the ICU right now up north. And it's been tough for them for several weeks, going into months, because of a lot of this illness that's going on. So I can tell you that they're praying through it, believing through it. And yes, they get weak. Yes, they get down. Yes, they don't know how to handle each day other than through prayer. Do you remember 9/11, what we went through as a country then? Of course you do, because we all do, if you were alive at the time. Now, I had a tire problem today, and I went to the tire shop I've been going to for years. And this kid comes out, and he's helping me. And he said, oh, you've been here a while? Coming here a while? I said, yeah, about 25 years. He said, wow. That was before I was even born. So thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Can you just fix my tire and I'll be on my way, right? But so if you were alive during 9/11, let me back up. If you were alive during 9/11, then you remembered. I remember exactly where I was standing, and then I started helping a lot of kids. But of course, we remember those kind of things, but we'll remember them forever because they impacted our life. I think COVID is going to be another one of those times where it impacted your life so much, you're going to know exactly, basically, where you were, if you contracted it or a family member contracted it, or if you lost your job or furloughed like I was for several months. That's some big, big stuff, friends. So, will this big stuff control you forever and ever? I wouldn't let it do that, because if you do, it's going to change your perspective even more. I really kind of got a little bit different from what I originally wanted to talk about tonight, but maybe there's a reason for that, right? So I just want us to think about 2020, the last few months that we're in it. What are we going to do in changing? What have we learned? I know my wife and I have gotten a lot done around the house, and we've learned that we don't need so much stuff. It's going, and we're giving it away, and we're throwing it out if it needs to be thrown out. So we've probably done a lot, cleaned our houses, cleaned our closets, cleaned our pantries, whatever. So yeah, we've learned that we didn't need a whole lot of things. And when it boils down to it, my friends, life is so, so precious. And there's a huge movement about being a minimalist, where you can just not have to have so much stuff. And it's not that I was always gaining stuff. It's just I realize that when you get to a certain age that you've gained too much, right? Well, not just weight, but talking about stuff. So no matter how you think about everything that's been going on in our country, I'd like to just throw out a challenge, because I've been doing a lot of that. In the morning time, if you could get up maybe a little earlier and just sit down and just think about, maybe get you a pad and pencil and just start writing out some things, or if you journal better at night or whatever. But learn, what have we learned over these next 3 months? What have we learned these last 9 months so far? And think about your perspective on not only COVID, but everything else attached to life that has upset you in the past. People get so bent out of shape when you do that, and you maybe got within 15, 20 feet from somebody and they just lose it, right? And they come up and do all sorts of things, or some people will throw up a gun. They really will, because their perspective is really out of whack. So when things happen that get you really upset, think about, is this worth it? My friend Glenn Ellison started the Parent Project out at Empower Parents program, and he's always asking the kids, is it worth it? Or he's asking the parents, working with the parents, because he really works with the parents. It says, is it worth it to just lose control over things? It's not. It's not. So it's time to move on, right? It's time to learn from what we've been learning and move on. Are we always taking from someone, or are we giving to someone? That's what I've learned through 2020. I started out the year, got all these plans, everything's going to grow great, and then boom, here comes COVID. I can tell you that if you've ever supported Dads for Life in prayer or financially, or just referred a single dad to us, or whatever you've done, or just watch my videos, I can tell you that we appreciate you and we love you for just supporting Dads for Life. If you want to learn about more of that, you can just go to our website, dadsforlife.com, and you can learn. Now that's the number 4, and you can learn how to just partner with us if you want to for a few dollars a month, or just as shopping is coming up for Christmas, you can actually help us by just shopping through Amazon by using Dads for Life as your charity. And you can do that right on our website. Go there, you can click on that. So our podcasts are there, our resources are there. I don't know, tonight I just felt like turning on the camera and talking. I hope it hasn't been too long. I hope I haven't bored you, and hope that you've learned at least one thing. If you'd like to know more about us, you can do that. But remember, don't sweat the small stuff. You can follow us all on all the social media sites at Dads for Life. And if you'd like to know more or follow what we can do, you know how to get in touch with us and see more about it. But if you can just think about tomorrow for just a moment. I've got this book it's called Tomorrow, actually. Adventures in an Uncertain World. But it's using animals it's actually written by Bradley Grieve, but it's using animals to give you the response about tomorrow. So I just was starting to look through this, and I found it kind of humorous. So just to pick out a couple here. There's 2 birds that are talking to each other on a fence. And you will find that there is always beauty and hope in even the most awful circumstances. I promise I did not line that up. I turned the page and there it was. So there's always someone else prepared to help you if you ask. It's got 2 chimpanzees there helping each other. There's always someone you can count on. A dog is riding a koala bear on the back. So, and this is one I really like. And there are a million special moments that you can chase. You can chase the shadows from your face in an instant, and it'll cost you absolutely nothing but a few spare minutes. Change your tomorrow. This is the book, by the way. So, because today may not have been the best day for you or your family. Something maybe upset the whole apple cart, so to speak. But you can change tomorrow today by changing your perspective. My favorite scripture is Jeremiah 29:11, and it says, "For I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. Plans to prosper you, plans to give you a hope for the future." And that's exactly what we need today, is hope for the future. So no matter how the election comes out, if you're on one side or the other that don't win, I want you to think about tomorrow. It's going to be okay, because there's another scripture in the Bible that says, don't worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will take care of itself. So if we can help you in any way, reach out to us at Dads for Life. I'll do a discovery call with single dads if you're interested in reaching out to me. You might be going through a divorce or gone through a divorce, know what to do. You can just reach out to me on our website through our calendar, and I'll be glad to just chat with you at no cost, just to sit and talk about where you go from where you're at. Well, this is Keith Jowers, the founder of Dads for Life, saying go out and encourage, enhance, and enrich the life of someone today or tomorrow. Make sure you start with your children because they truly do need it the most. Bye-bye.